He gets both kills. Oh, right click. Oh, no way! Hiko! He's the... Oh! That's early on. Gonna go for the beat. It's over. Oh my god! Vanity! Trent's on a 2 versus 1 for the first goal. Oh, what a flick! And we get plays coming through Tens. Oh my god, Tens!
Energy dominating this first match.
Oh!
B-Dog lines them up.
They swing and the heads are being popped.
No!
Banned!
Down in the takedown point.
No way.
For more.
No way! Picks up 4!
Poison Shanks, and speaking of...
Oh my goodness!
Hello everyone and welcome to VCT Challengers NA. It's the final day of group play and there is some seeding on the line. I'm your host Golden Boy, of course, joined by Evil Cat and Ender, and I'm very happy to be here with you guys today for to kind of like wrap it all up in a bow, you know, and then we can just look forward to the main event. It's going to be very, very exciting. But first, though, let's recap what happened yesterday, because Mimi, it seems like 100 Thieves finally were able to fish out their first win.
Yeah,
Good for them.
Yeah, good for them. You know, you're not going home winless. I think it was Josh on the desert who was really hyping up. Someone finally has to win, and 100 Thieves did it. You know, this is a roster that was fraught with so many issues throughout this this group play. You know, losing half their players in the middle of it, changing things up. But the new additions look good, especially yesterday in taking that win versus EG.
Yeah, that was like $1 million win right there too, because you only get one, so it's an expensive one. I bet they're glad to get at least one on the board. Very close games between them and EG, so like, yeah, walking away with the win. You're gonna say, like, I guess move on and we can have some more time with this roster and see if we can get things going for the next challengers. But at the end of the day, I think both of these teams were fairly disappointed with the overall results of the group, and neither of them will have a chance to move on and play in that knockout stage. At the same time, we did see Xset play up against Luminosity. That was a fun match too. Xset seemed to think that Astra is totally fine. Played her on both maps. We're playing her on Breeze even, which is a thing some teams have liked to do in the past, but very curious to see them deciding to sort of disregard those nerfs and continue to want to play that agent.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I suppose there's a question in my head is, do they want to stick with this, or is it just, this is a match that is just for seeding for us? We're in anyway. Do we want to hold strats we're going to see in the future? It's interesting to think about, but taking a little look at the schedule, we're in the final day of play here. We got Sen v1 and then Optic versus Knights, two very important seeding matches for these teams.
Yeah, these are going to be some massive games here, regardless of the fact that everything's all locked in. You know, you still want to try and see if you can jockey higher up the leaderboard. And I also think, too, it's a great opportunity for Sentinels to really take a stab at one of the teams that are being highly regarded as one of the best squads in North America right now. And there's a lot of changes that have happened. You know, it feels like you blink and you miss it because so many things happen in Valorant in a blink of an eye. We have new meta changes, a whole heap load of things to go through. And well, don't worry, we'll be sure to go through all of that. But first, though, let's actually start with the groups and where we are right now, starting off with Group A. Cloud9 have established themselves at the top here, Ender. They are the kings of Group A, but the Guard surely made them work for it.
Yeah, I mean, the Guard definitely a really strong team, but when these teams faced off against each other on Friday, like, C9 made quick work of the Guard in the last two maps, especially that Haven map, playing triple flashes. Like, they just ran Guard over. It was really sick to watch. So for me, looking at this group, I do feel like C9 have a bit of a leg up on the Guard. At the same time, Xset have that leg over Luminosity too. So if I'm a team in Group B, I think these seeding matches really matter, because I do not want to play against C9 or Xset.
Yeah, I mean, it is very important, and that's what the two matches today will be deciding. I think that Xset, the way they're looking, especially with playing their old comps yesterday, there's so much unknown going into the playoffs, and there's no second chances now, right? It'll be single elimination once we are into those playoffs proper. So going up against one of those teams that is looking incredibly strong, especially for C9, Xset, I mean, the Guard is not much better, but I think I'd prefer to play the Guard over Cloud9. No good choice for any of these guys.
Yeah, you would hope that maybe you can get a little bit of the advantage of, you know, the young team, right? Maybe feeling a bit of the pressure. Maybe they have the fizzle out when the matches matter most, right? Anything can happen, of course. So if you look at the Guards play, I really don't think that's going to be the case. But anyway, moving on, though, to Group B, which is the group that we are going to be spotlighting here today. You saw the matches as they come up. The teams that will be moving on to playoffs, it's going to be Knights, Optic Gaming, Sentinels, and right now at the top, it's Version1, Mimi, but as we know with that Sentinels V1 matchup, I've been seeing a lot of the chatter online, a lot of mixed reaction. Sentinels fans, and there are a lot of them, are, you know, sticking to their guns that Sentinels are going to walk away with the win here, but I don't know, man. V1, they look great.
Yeah, V1 have looked really good, but they've also been an Astra-heavy team, and now changes are coming on through.
This is true.
Sentinels last week, I think, made some big improvements, so that matchup bound to be close, and like we mentioned, big implications. Winner gets to play guard instead of Cloud9, so you do like to see that. Over on the other side of this group as well, it's the choice between Xset and Luminosity, between Knights and Optic, and well, I think Optic the clear favorite in that matchup. Knights, despite taking some of the early losses in this group stage, they've kept all of these games really impressively close, and they're definitely looking like a dark horse heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, you really can't sleep on any of these teams, right? And with seedings on the line here, it's going to be pertinent to play at your absolute best today, going in to the knockout stage. But you know, there has been, I'm sure many of you guys know at this point, there has been a massive update. Controller agents have been seeing quite the shuffle as of late, and Mimi, you alluded to it a few times. You talked about the Astra changes, but Ender, it's actually been pretty prevalent in the pick rates as well. The dramatic change has been quite massive.
Yeah, it seems like the changes really leveled out the playing field. Like, some teams will still pick the Astra. We saw Xset be one of those teams, but down to a 21% pick rate, whereas Omen has actually overtaken even the Brimstone. I think people were really hyped off of the Stimmy in the solo queue, but Omen seems to be very powerful, and I think a big reason why we're seeing a little bit more Omen over the Brimstone is the power of, like, the full true global smokes in a similar sense to that Astra. You can very quickly smoke from anywhere on the map, and also his blind followed up. Like, that coordination of utility is really, really powerful. We saw previously on the last patch, like, Astra util with like Raze was a really sick combo, but Omen blind combined with a Jet dashing forward or Raze satcheling on in, that is a really powerful 1-2 punch.
Yeah, it's really powerful indeed, and I think one of the biggest changes is that this has opened up single controller comps to be a lot more viable. You know, Astra Viper was the meta for so many months where it felt like it was a necessity to run both those agents, but we've already seen both here in NA and over in EU that maps like Bind that were previously super heavy on the Viper, teams have moved away from that. Some folks running the solo Omen, some folks rocking with the Brimstone. I think it's given a breath of fresh air into some of these maps that have started to feel really stale, and it's opened up new opportunities for agents like Neon, for more Breach to come into the mix.
Yeah, like running multiple different initiators too. Like we saw C9 running 3 flashes, including the Omen there. So like 2 true flashes with the team comp, and it's very interesting because I think that when it comes to like building out a composition and finding out like what piece of utility you need, like, it's all about trying to make fights advantaged for yourself, right? You're never trying to walk into a 50-50. You want to be able to use a nade to push them off the angle or use a flash to make sure you're beating them. And I think on the previous patch, so much of it was about cutting off, you know, vision with multiple controllers, Viper walls, Astra smokes, all this stuff, and then, you know, combining damaging utility perhaps with a Raze in the mix using the Astra suck. But now it really is, I think, about flashes and mobility that can start to take over. And I think we saw a team like Liquid playing the Neon. We saw Optic do that too. I think that mobility plus blind, that's a really powerful combination that we're going to start to see a little bit more.
Yeah, the mobility is such a big factor, and I guess we now have to start to think about what teams are going to benefit from that, what teams are going to see improvements. And our first matchup, talking about Sentinels, they already seem to think that this is a change that's beneficial to them, right? This team has been relevant since before these changes came in. They've been relevant since the Astra meta, and if we take a look at a quote from Sick here, after I believe this was their previous game that they managed to win on out, he was talking about the fact that he thinks that this new meta will favor them a little bit. The super slow play has been kind of bogging them down. In that same interview, he was also talking about how this squad, when they're sometimes, you know, a little slow to get started, it's because they're such a gun-heavy team, such a fragging power-heavy team with some of those insane individuals like Sick, like Pens when they're working in that duo. And I think having less Gravwells, less Astra utility that can just globally slow them down will maybe start to give us that Sentinels team of yore.
Yeah, but, you know, I do want to keep something in mind for everyone at home who, you know, feels like this could be Sentinels time to shine here. You know, everyone's going to feel like at some point, like the meta is going to favor them, right? Whenever there's like a new change, everyone's like, this is going to be great for us and we're going to do so well. But the something to address though is that like a lot of these squads, they're going to have the staffing to help prepare these teams for it. Whereas with Sentinels, it's these 5 guys right here that are the ones that are going to be kind of crafting the strategy, and perhaps that could work out very well for them here, Ender. But one has to wonder that could kind of stick in the back of your mind, like, hey, you know, maybe not having that additional group to like help you prepare could cost you a little bit here. I don't know. Want to get your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I think having multiple coaches, you know, trying out for the position, they have some time. But Mimi, you want to talk about this clip, right?
Yeah, this is something that I wanted to bring up, and this was more general, right? About Sentinels, their double duelists, and how they were working, not just during this specific meta, but in times previous. Sick was playing a lot of Phoenix. Sick was playing a lot of Raze. There's been some adjustment to the squad since this Astra Viper meta has come to be, but it feels like we are getting back to that point. But to the question that you were queuing up to Ender a little bit, I think it is tough when you don't have a coach. You know, a lot of teams, they have a coach, they have an analyst, they have a manager, they have like 15 people in support staff. Yeah. Sentinels don't have that opportunity. But the thing is, Ender, Shazam has already proved that he can navigate this team as a single man through meta shifts. And I kind of have faith in him doing it again, especially since this meta does feel like a return to former metas.
I don't know what you're talking about, Mimi. You say teams have 15 people helping them out. Don't they have like 15 people trying out for the coach role? Like, I think maybe they can learn something from that. No, I think one of the things that one of the reasons why I think this in particular may benefit Sentinels is that the previous meta was so much about like sort of like pre-planned utility combinations. Like it was less focused on gunplay, and I think that now we're seeing a trend in the direction where without Astra being able to put CC, you know, on anywhere on the map, like, and combine that really well, like the map is going to become a little bit less controllable overall. So we'll see like maybe teams that were super focused on, you know, like knowing these are the timings you can be peaking, like we're gonna have all the utility to make us always have a winning fight, you know, a positive advantage situation. Like we're going to see a little bit less of that. So I think that a little bit more chaotic style, and I don't love using the word chaotic necessary, but a little bit less predictable style may end up benefiting Sentinels on this patch.
I mean, sometimes that's what happens when you have a you know, patch in the middle of a tournament. You know, I mean, it's just something that's bound to happen. But moving on though to their opponent for today, because a lot of focus on Sentinels obviously, but Version1, they're sitting at the top of the group right now. And Mimi, you know, I feel like this squad, they have a lot of pieces, but you know, something that needs to be noted is that they had a lot of those pieces when Astra was very prevalent in the composition. Yeah. Is that so much going to be the case here now? Because they're going to have to figure it out just like Sentinels.
I think we have to kind of make 2 points: the core 4 and then Sander, because they are very different teams. You remember this core 4 was the team that made the run at Iceland, the team that was never done, the team that was relevant back in an Omen meta when Vanity was playing that. These players were super competent back when that was the meta in play, and it almost felt like they had a brief dip off before Vanity really kind of rallied back together and they found their home, which was, I would say, the peak when they were playing in Iceland. Xander, on the other side, has been a player that has really just been, you know, playing the Astra for this squad as an IGL. This is the first team he's really been at that tier 1 level, been relevant on. And I want to kind of pull out to talk more generally about this team's play, because their play, it feels like it's so fixated around that Astra. The Astra is the catalyst that give them so much of their strategic depth. Ender.
And to be fair, like that's just kind of what the meta has been for so long. So it's hard to see them sort of spread their wings. At the same time, like their play actually within the server is so intelligent, always using those picks, that Astra, right, with the rest of the team. And you can sort of see how they're able to sort of set up and enable those star players, you know, to enable Penny to get those winning fights. It's very clever how this team calls within the round. I think their game against Optic really proved that. Like Optic, no slouches. This was a fantastic match between the two teams. But I think it went to show that like V1 were never putting themselves in positions where they were making like low percentage plays. They were always going in. It was like, yeah, you can see the exact theory behind the play. You know exactly what they're going for.
Yeah, and this round is really cool, because this is one where they tried to fake out towards C immediately, then they double back late round towards the site, and the thing is, what made the round so winnable was Astra utility. They had it all committed on towards the C site, pull it back, and because that pullback time is so short, you saw the Gravwell right at the end of the round that managed to let them win it on out. Like, Xander has been one of the points when he's playing this Astra to make this team so variable in the mid round. And if we look at his agent play statistics, the majority of the time, this guy is always on Astra and Viper. I think think those 2 one-off games were like open qualifiers of like random events where they were just kind of playing around, trying different things. But the vast majority of this guy's experience as an IGL has been on either that Astra or on that Viper. And now the question is, do they go with the XZ style where they stick to that play? They commit to it, right? Because even if you can't do rounds like they were showing there on Haven, where you have the quick readjustment with the Astra utility, you have to be a little bit more pre-planned, a little more intentional. I have faith that they could do that. Or do they want to continue the kind of on-the-fly, fast-play strategic stuff, which would make me think maybe they move towards an Omen previous to what this team was playing when Vanity was their IGL? There's a lot of questions around that, but I think the pressure is squarely with Xander in that regard. And not only as an individual in his role switch, but also as an IGL, because it is a little tougher to call from other roles. Like, the Astra feels like it was built for leaders in the amount of global control you can have. That's a little tougher on Omens and on Brimstones.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of questions are being asked, and thankfully we're going to get some answers in a moment here, at least as it relates to this particular matchup with Sentinels and V1. Now, maps are ready to go, so let's go ahead and see where we're heading to here, Ender. And I think this is also going to be a big question point, right? And we're going to Ascent, Haven, and Breeze for our 3 maps in this match, Ender.
You know, I just want to see Icebox, please. I want to see the new B-site changes really come into play
Yeah,
here.
me too.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, though, I think, like, one thing we've hammered home in previous weeks is, like, map 1s for Sentinels and for 10s in particular have been absolutely horrendous. Have yet to win a map 1s, like, starting things off on Ascent, like, I want to see Sentinels just please come in and look like you warmed up. Like, I want to see that finally coming from Sentinels, because Version 1 are the toughest competition they've gone up against, and if they just don't show up for the first half, it's going to be really rough.
Yeah, and taking a look at this pool, I think this is about where we expected it to go. Bind split promos for both of these teams. Ascent being that first pick is a little bit of a surprise to me. I was reckoning that we'd probably see Icebox picked out of V1, but who knows? Maybe their affluence on that map has changed a little bit since the switch up there. They want to take this to Ascent, which, to be fair, has been a pretty rough map in recent history for Sentinels.
Yeah, and look, I think to Ender's point, you're 100% right. You know, the map 1 statistics for Sentinels ain't pretty, and they're going to have to step that up somehow, some way, and maybe these changes in the meta, maybe the speed that Sentinels will be hoping to play at could be the difference maker here. But folks, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to dive right into the matchup and find out what agents are going to be selected for both teams. You don't want to miss it. This is VCT Challengers NA. See you in a little bit.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to VCT Challengers NA. Golden Boy here alongside with the Evil Cat and Ender. And we apologize. Sideshow tripped over a cable and just completely knocked the entire show. You know, this is why we can't have nice things, right? So
Overwatch casters, am I right?
Typical. I wouldn't know anything about that. Anywho, so we're going to be jumping in through the agent select in a moment here for V1 versus Sentinels. And let me tell you, chat, if you guys wanted to hear some premium filling, we were on the money. I think Ender at one point got into a Yoru discussion. It was just, we were going down the deep rabbit hole of meta chats here, Ender, and you know what? Hopefully we get to explore that. Hopefully you get to explore your D points about Yoru.
Maybe. You know what? I can't say that I have that many deep points about Yoru.
Definitely some of the points I've ever heard.
They are points, you know.
Points.
Now there may not be a point to picking Yoru, but there are definitely points we can discuss about Yoru.
Oh man! All right. Well, agent select should hopefully be starting here in a moment, but I think like before we jumped into that though, right? A lot of the story was really focused upon, you know, what we're going to be seeing here from the agent compositions. Given what we've seen maybe from the other days leading up to this one, do you feel like we are going to get maybe from V1's side? Do you think that they might stick to their guns on the Astra despite the changes?
I wouldn't fully be surprised if they do stick to it. I think, like we highlight in that little clip, a lot of their play is reliant on this Astra. It's what gives them a lot of flexibility in the mid round. Xander is an IGL. It's where he is, I think, calling it his best. But I think eventually there will be time for change. My question is, do they institute that now and show their cards, or do they institute that once the playoffs hit and try it out then? Because there is a case to be made here for either of these teams to just play old comps, still try your best, but save your real strats for when it really does matter and when it is the most impactful. Still, of course, this is a valuable match because the winner gets to face LG over XSET, which is a pretty good reward, right? I'm not feeling like I want to be facing that new XSET squad, but it's also, you know, you don't want to have to show your guns too early. On the other side, though, I think that for Sentinels, I imagine we will just automatically see a switch back to the Omen. Zoms used to be really good at the role. I'd imagine he'd still be comfortable. It's a similar comp to what they used to play, and I think it would slot in really well to the way that they play this map. They like to be quick. They like to hold with that pace. It's TenZ. Plus, I believe this is one of the maps where we do get that KO out as well to kind of support TenZ best as possible. If you have an Omen flash, Ender talked about this earlier in the pre-show, that combination, it's really darn potent.
Yeah,
right,
it can be really strong. And we're going to be getting into Agent Select. Sorry for running into you there, Golden Boy. I just want to see what these teams have ready for us, because we've talked about 6KO in the past, and sometimes the utility there isn't all the way there. So I want to see if he's put in the work and the KO util and the way the team is playing around it is going to be stronger today. It does look like Xander wants to stick to that Astra pick, though, Mimi.
Yeah, this is kind of what we're expecting, right? Xander sticking to the guns. He's solid on the roll, even if it is going to be a little bit tougher. I have faith in him doing it well. Who I'm looking out for is Zelsis and Penny playing this one together. Zelsis has been one of the best players, in my opinion, instituting this KO, especially playing it less like a Ryze-style duelist and more like a supportive role that you would see with a Sova or with a Breach. I love the way he plays this, and I think it's going to allow Penny to pop off.
Yeah, and if Penny pops off, that could be quite dangerous for Sentinels here. And you know, I'm just excited as an Omen player. I'm just excited to see the Broman back Ender. You know, it just makes me very happy, and just to know that we're gonna see this back into play, and it's gonna give us something different to talk about. But I do think, Mimi, to your point, very wise from V1. Just stick to their guns, right? Leave the tinkering and the changing for when you get into playoffs. For right now, focus on what brought you to the dance to begin with, and that has been the Astra. But in any case, folks, I mean, that's basically going to do it for us here. It's time to see how this all plays out. We're going to send it over to Brandon, the person responsible for the outage. It was Sideshow. Gentlemen, take it away.
Shame on you.
Thank you very much, Golden Boy. Yeah, it was all Josh's fault, actually. It's a well-known fact that the casters are in charge of the production, and we get paid by the minute, so we want to delay as much as humanly possible.
Of course.
But we are, I mean, I'm hoping we're going to be heading into this game very quickly and starting with the pistol round here. Funnily enough, Josh here, Sentinels versus V1. Six said in an interview recently, we start slow. It's really tough for us to sometimes find the rhythm, and that's been a trend of their map 1 win rates, but also their pistol rounds for Sentinels. They have the second worst pistol round win rate when it comes to VCT currently.
Yeah, they're only above 100 Thieves right now, so it would be great for them to get a hot start here. The desk has talked a lot about how this comp favors them. There's a little recon dart and a push. Just trying to punish Whippy for trying to take that B main control early with only a turret. You have to make sure that Whippy doesn't just get B main for free. And now here comes the drone as Version1 work their way fairly quickly down mid. You have to be aware of some kind of paranoia trap setup in mid. If there was an alarm bot there, paranoia playing off the back of it, these are the kind of things that Version1 now have to be thinking about.
And Zoms, he's got that paranoia in hand. Ghost as well. Has it available? Lets it rip. Actually, Dodgers goes straight to the side. Nobody playing off of it, and they're just jumping straight into his face. Celsius, the 1-for-1, a quick trade. TenZ also taken out. That's Celsius with 2.
It's a big shot. The flash just to allow him to reposition. And now Version1 could actually slow the round down if they want to. They're normally a pretty pacey team. Recon Dart makes sure from Shaz that they're not going into B.
Oh,
and this has got some pace, and Dapper will hear all of these footsteps.
Yeah, all the footsteps now as they're trying to run themselves into the A side. All going down. Celsius just pushing straight through the smoke. What is that?
Was Dapper failing the jump there? He was like looking backwards, jumping in the wrong spot. Very odd play.
Listen, we won't talk about it.
Well, Celsius has a fraction of his health left.
And now it's a 2v3. V1 setting up with these post plants. Pretty intelligent stuff from Celsius here. He's just going to be playing through the A main. Sander all the way back in hell, so it's going to be difficult for Sentinels to try and clear this. Shaz does have the arrow, though. Sends it out. It's going to be clearing a bit there. TenZ straight over the top, and that's going to be some good kills going their way. Now the 1v1.
How much health?
He needs to try and ace this. Saz sticking around the corner. He swings, and he's going to be rewarded with the kill and the clutch.
Awesome play by Sentinels coming out through heaven there, winning the 2v3.
Ooh.
It's the play by TenZ jumping on top of Generator that allows him to catch, with his Sheriff, the player, I think it was Xander, hiding in hell. Overall, great pistol round. We talked about that slow start and Sentinels pistol round win rate. Getting those on the board early, that is so good to begin this.
Yeah, you start winning those pistol rounds, and you're looking at a very different Sentinels. They've been gassing themselves up that, you know, this meta that we're moving into with the controller changes, it definitely suits them. Zom's on the Omen, which is a
throwback
pick for him.
pick.
Yeah, throwback.
Straight back to 2020.
That's a lovely nade as well, just to try and push Sick into position now, holding on Wine. You can see the power of Omen on this map with these one-ways.
And also, on the other side of the map here, on the minimap, look how aggressive Dapper is getting. So, in the pistol round, you had a recon dart and TenZ pushing really aggro. In the second round, you've got Dapper looking to take a fight early. They are really trying to condition Whippy so that he doesn't take B main in the early round.
V1 down to a minute here. That was a drone used by Sentinels just to get a bit of that info. Pushes them away for a moment. Still a lot of time in the round, though, but these one-ways just keep getting put up. You can see Zoms is scared of the contact play through Cat. They actually don't have anyone watching this.
But his paranoia is still so good from anywhere around here. That knife is going to detect at least one, possibly two. Xander definitely got caught by it. Knife doesn't clear.
They got another 6 here, right?
They didn't clear Wine, and they just stuck the orb.
Yeah. Trying to bait the swing coming through. Now the util as well comes down. That is Sick dealt with. You know, he was there from the knife, the trajectory of it.
Henny's lurked his way in as well. He's all the way through tree, and I do not think that Zoms has gotten a read on this.
The players struggling, but Henny, what is that timing? Straight around the corner. V1 looking like they might be able to take this round. The 2v2. He does have the Spectre in hand, and as the door is closed, Sentinel's going to be finding it difficult. They might try and push the issue. Could go with a bit of pace here as the spike to be committed. Players are low. Turret down to give them a bit of information. Sentinels, they have to play this well. This is kind of fallen out of their hands now. The double play in hell. It's smart, and the alarm bot doesn't actually spot them. The Sentinels know. Quick little swing. Dribbling, baiting it. That is very nice fundamentals there from Sen.
Sublime kind of play. That round got way too sticky, right? It's a 2v2, Sentinels could have easily lost, but it's the same kind of play they made on the pistol round. Just a really good retake from Heaven in a 2v2, 2v3 kind of scenario gives Sentinels that lead. They're not going to have a very good bonus round here. They've only kept a Bulldog and a Spectre into this, so the chances of them doing significant economic damage they're really low. We'll see whether they decide to buy up. This is one of those rounds where you could decide to just buy rifles and go for it.
Dapper is.
Yeah, they've got an odd buy, honestly. This isn't going to allow them, really, to have a good buy in round 4 if they lose, but TenZ hopefully going to work his way up to Knives over the course of this. And he's actually sat in a really passive position now on the 3rd round. So they've pushed out B main both of these times before, and that has now forced Whippy to take a more passive approach, even when they're not pushing.
It does seem incredibly open. I mean, I'm not sure if that turret spots it just on logs there. The players come through and working off the back of the drone. I mean, V1 is taking a lot of space. Counter drone. I'm going to be using that KO, those Elsis, to try and move the team in. He's built them up quickly off the back of those 4 kills that he got on the pistol round. Jazz, we'll see what he can do. Tries to line it up with the spray down, but doesn't quite find too much. Only a bit of damage done. Sight control still there, but TenZ, can he hold it down? Not enough.
A really, really tough retake scenario here. Sick and Zoms should be considering saving their guns, I think, but Sick gets his head popped by Penny. He's kind of feeling it, goes for the swing as well. Another great Vandal headshot. And that is going to crush the Sentinels' economy. They might still be able to put up a bit of a buy. TenZ is one away from getting a knife, but it's not good.
Prime Gaming flawless.
It is a Prime Gaming flawless. Look at what happens in this. In these replays, you can see every single time a Sentinels player tries to take a fight, there are multiple people facing them from version 1. They're incredibly good at supporting each other as they push into areas. If you try and take a fight, it's so hard to isolate 1v1s. That's what the Paranoia is going to be great for. Paranoia, flashes coming out from Sick. You want to try and split them up a little. And here it is, Sentinels going for that eco round. Only a Spectre to their name.
Deep Knife actually gets a lot of information. Anything to play off, though? Just one way. Oh, okay, V1. The disrespect, they just jump straight through it. All their players grouped up in A. with the exception. Just Whippy. Now we see the drone. Another nade just popped out onto the side to stop them from pushing through.
This is a 4-player stack. This would be really bad for version 1 to go into right now, and they've read it. They recognize the utility coming through. They heard the...
I mean, there's so much there.
Yeah, the KO, the Omen.
Shock
They know
darts.
that the Shock Dart was there as well. They know it's at least 3 players. Is this going to be a classic version 1 re-hit, though? They love doing rounds like this. Early round, they'll take a piece of the map. In this instance, A main. Force the rotates, cut noise, and then they'll explode out again. It's so much harder right now for Sentinels to find the timing for their utility, because there's no warning. Version 1 are just going to be in an instant.
Sick is holding the knife, waiting for the reaction to it. There's the knife. The counter knife as well comes through.
The paranoia is great.
Across the wall. Yeah, and the paranoia was fantastic. Zoms does get the one, but V1, I mean, the fundamentals are far too strong. Whippy, my God. He's holding that long sight line. Collects the players, and it's just Sick and Dapper left alive. They have the pistols in hand. Could pull a miracle out of somewhere, but nah, Xander's more than capable of shutting that one down.
And this looks like it's going to be fairly clean, tying it up at 2-2. You know, if we're just going to talk expectations for a little bit here on Ascent, version 1 have looked amazing on this map, whereas Sentinels, they haven't got a win. They haven't played it very much, but they haven't got a win. The only maps the Sentinels have won on this year are Fracture, Bind, and Haven. And there's only Haven in the map pool today. So you're expecting version 1 to come out swinging. On the attack side, in general, across VCT, they average an 8-4 half. Average. Like, half the time they're doing better than 8-4. So it's really just about Sentinels holding on in this first half. And getting the pistol in the follow-up is already putting them on a pretty good beginning. They're going to start out not looking to take control of B main this time. Whippy has that area for the first time in the game.
Wait a second.
And the knife's turned off the Killjoy.
Yeah. The Killjoy util all taken out. Tens. A bit of trouble. Smoke's dropped down. He's able to just pull back there to the spawn area. Penny falling as well. V1 losing that player. Not ideal for them, but it's a quick pivot now. They're pushing all the way around. Zelsis, hot flash. That's the paranoia used as a response to it. Zoms. There's no one really swinging off the back of it, but now Tens gets back into a position to hold just the crossfire that's occurring. All the players wrapping around them, and V1 have been caught in this trap.
Only Xander left alive, and it doesn't look doable for him whatsoever. Yeah. Really nice round from Sick. It's Sick's knife, I think, that actually cancels the hit through mid, because they all got suppressed by it. And then he has the nade to stop the follow-up into A, spans through the smoke as well, collects the final kill. He now has his KO ult online. Sentinels have a ton of ults available for this.
And you're starting to see the glimpses, I think, of why the Sentinels players were hinting and teasing that this meta would suit them. It's very loose. They can play off of their own utility just with a snap of a finger when you see that the paranoia is coming through.
And even actually, Bren, the stylistic matchup, I think, is good for Sentinels. They like playing against teams that play quickly. They're happy to play very reactively and get the flow. And so far, they've read where version 1 are going in all of these rounds. They've had stacks in the right places, even on the thrifty rounds. They read the A push coming through. They read the cat push in the prior round. Shaz has actually used his drone really early here, over by tree, in a position where he can't get turned off by a knife. And it just grabs a bit of info in mid.
I mean, it doesn't see anybody, though. Everybody's hiding around the corner. Tens. Brave play.
And now version 1 are using that negative information, the fact that Sentinels thought mid was clear, to go and take that area of the map. I think this makes a lot of sense. They're probably going to poke towards Dapper in market and then try and end A here. Look for them to try and force out this alarm bot and then pivot catwalk.
Quick smoke as well. Goes across. Ah, nice start. Information gained.
They haven't actually cleared Dapper out of market, though. Dapper still knows this isn't a B split.
The read comes through. I don't see more than ready. Already players on the side. That was Penny dashing right in, and he takes care of one still. Tens up in the air. Knives in hand with the lockdown now. Just going to be pushing them away, and Sander just finds that pick.
Shaz has his ult for this, but he's choosing not to commit it. The attacker lockdown is getting value here. Dapper falls in heaven as well. And Shaz, I think he was worried about somebody lurking through mid. Sick gets turned off in the midst of all of this, and it looks like version 1 are going to go straight back to 3-3.
Looking like they're around here, unless they just overextend right into the Sentinels' crossfires, but Sick only gets the one before eventually going down. Shaz in the 1v3. Never know. You never know with Shaz. I mean, I've seen some crazy spray transfers in the group stage so far.
Yeah,
but yeah, 3-3 is going to be scoreline in this map, and honestly, Sentinels keep going toe-to-toe with V1, I think. When V1 on their attack side, you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
As weird as that sounds.
I would definitely agree. If you can keep this going to 6-6, Sentinels are laughing. But unfortunately, not really all the way to the bank. Look at their economy. They've got 2 light armors and a Spectre going on here, with a Bulldog as well.
Yeah.
Version 1 have really been good at keeping them honest. The economical advantage is vastly in favor of Version 1. TenZ poking his way towards mid. That knife finds a couple of players over at tiles. And if TenZ is given anybody, it would be an opportunity at Xander, but I don't think he's likely to poke his head out.
Quick little pop though now with the KO ult. Going to be suppressing a bunch of the targets, including Dapper at the back of the side. He's not going to have that util to play off. Well, TenZ holds that angle around the corner, but does not expect the player out. Dice, look at this anchoring still. Effie's collects both the players who are...
Do they go for the res?
Pushing them back. Looks like they want to. You can hear the sound cue, and Zelsis is going to be brought back up. TenZ for a repeat at some point there, and Xander ends up holding the wall and takes him out.
What a flash!
Beautiful pop flash, and...
I really didn't think they were going to check 6 position there. He'd managed to sneak his way in, giving no sound cues while the res was going off. But they're still diligent enough, still disciplined to check that corner. And that's a round where I thought Sentinels did a lot of stuff well. The peak there from TenZ is gorgeous. Jazz is a bit of bait. And then Dapper's anchoring, sorry, Zom's anchoring was pretty nice there to be able to knock the KO.
He did the best with the weapons that he had.
But unfortunately, that was a force buy. And so it knocks Sentinels back down to an eco round. And that's one of the problems that they've been running into right now. One way goes up in A main. Once more, Dapper fighting aggro over B. They've been liking to try and take this area of the map away, but Whippy and Penny are very set up for any kind of aggression.
Look how open mid is right now. I mean, V1 obviously don't notice. They're just poking and prodding. The entire middle section of the map is just wide open. There's no utility that's watching it. And obviously V1 are a very patient team. You know, if they anticipate that there could be an aggressive eco play against them, they will slow it down and hold.
Absolutely. They're normally a quick team. Oh, that's great. Just the diligence there. Zels is holding the perfect angle to dodge the flash, get back onto the angle, and punish TenZ. But you're right. Version 1 are known as an aggressive, fast-paced team, and they certainly can. They're going to explode here. But against the eco rounds, on the anti-eco, they tend to be fairly disciplined.
There was potential there for Zoms to try and turn that. The Paranoia caught a bunch of targets, but... All right, now, just a 2v5. Dapper and Shaz look to take away a couple of guns now. Obviously, the next round coming up, they're going to have a bit more money and ultimate available. Dapper got his ult this time around, so...
They haven't really been in good positions to use these ults, though.
No.
It's also the Astra. If we're going to talk about controllers in general and Xander staying on the Astra, they won a round off the Astra wall, basically. Right? They went for the B hit. It cut off a couple of people. They got the kill on Shaz. Sure, TenZ got a pick, but overall, that ult gave them a big advantage to win a round. It's unlikely you're going to win a round off Zom's Omen ult. It's just not the same kind of impact.
Yeah,
Here we see a
not the same
change-up,
value.
though. I don't think Dapper has been playing towards A very often. He's mostly been playing in that B main kind of area. So now Shaz pivots over here. And TenZ, but he gets rocked.
Bro, I mean, the knife came through to suppress as well. Even if TenZ gets that one shot, he's not going to be able to dash out. The timing of it was impeccable, and they just spam through the smoke. They know that there's a possibility that a player could be there holding within that area. Just does his best. He only gets the one, though. Still, Sentinels are quick. Trying to retake this. Flash. Comfortable for them. What a flash straight over the top. He's getting caught in the running gun from Zelsis. Oh my goodness, the tippity tap of his feet. Running side by side. 6 rounds now on the board for V1.
And it now feels like Version 1 are running away with it.
Absolutely. Man, it wasn't too long ago we were saying it was even. If Sentinels can keep it even, we're looking at, you know, pretty good situation for them.
But remember, a reminder to you, Version 1 average an 8-4 on their attack side. And that's across all maps. And they're favored here. I mean, Sentinels, like I said, they haven't won on Ascent in VCT this year. So this is more of what you expect from Version 1. It's just proof that they're still able to make it work with the Astra nerfs. So Killjoy utility once again from Dapper over on the A side. Same one way. So it looks and feels the same from Version 1 as they take A main. Disrespecting this utility here from Zoms.
Yeah, there was only one real attempt from Sentinels to take that A main control early on when they put Sick into Wine.
Yes.
And since then, they've been giving up these orbs all the time.
Yeah, they haven't really gone for like a Paranoia trap play or anything. Here's something over towards Catwalk. Sick could definitely flash here, but there's no way of really punishing it. It's just to get TenZ out. He still burns the dash.
Oh, wow. That's
Oh, no.
okay. I mean, Hunter's Fury popped off here.
Oh, God, run.
Oh, my goodness. The movement from 10's 11 HP in a dream, but already, look at that decisiveness. V1 are already into B. Straight through market. Not quite onto the site just yet, but I'll try and re-clear through B main. Just to make sure that no players are lurking in that area. V1 alive right now. Now they're going to start to get that plant down.
And they're playing aggressive post-plant positions as well. Zelsis is in a position where he can swing off a player lane, swing off the turret contact, for example.
They just don't clear. Zelsis holding that corner angle.
And the lockdown is used again against an eco round, against the Thrifty. No crumbs are being given. Not a single crumb.
Not a single opportunity. They know how dangerous Sentinels are. Individually, all of these players, they can turn around on an eco.
But some serious respect being shown here. It's round 9. It's not like it's the final round. You might as well throw it in.
And the Sentinels players hunting for the X6 kills, but I only get the one onto Zelsis there, so a clean rounder from V1.
Yeah, and part of what Sentinels was doing well, early on, was identifying the areas where those version 1 pivots were going. So in that round, they take A main kind of early, and then pivot through mid to B. Pretty quick, with a lot of pace behind it. As soon as they had broken that cat trap, the catwalk trap play with between 10s and Sick, they just immediately pivot through market with a lot of speed. And Sentinels were reading those moves really well early on and trying to position somebody like Sick or like Zoms at the end of that so that they could anchor with a flash. That just hasn't really been present. Nobody there to break the recon from 10s. No Cloudburst used either.
Yeah.
Has to give it up.
I mean, just left alone, essentially. He's only got the one smoke, unless he used it early in the round, but I think just the money situation means that he couldn't afford too much utility.
Now, there's an alarm bot still in mid, but Shaz is still going to drone it. So they don't have any information towards the extremities.
I mean,
but they're doubling up on info.
So early as well.
They are. Version 1's early round aggression is forcing out the drone from Shaz so early. And Dapper's just going to get turned off here. He can't do a thing. Yeah. He actually managed to pop the molly beforehand, though.
And he gets the one pick. It's a quick res. The Hunter's Fury was popped off. That was Shaz just trying to deny them, trying to walk in. The spam through the smoke. Zoms, okay. Stray bullet finds the head of Whippy. Have a knife to push away. Potential retake here from Sen, but they have been slowed down. V1 on the site. The 4v4.
They have amazing utility. They have 2 flashes, Paranoia, Recon Dart that they've just used as well. But Zelsis is on a fantastic lurk, and this alarm bot obviously not active with Dapper dead.
He's found the timing. Sick goes down, and it has disrupted. It's a quirky little play. It's absolutely thrown a wrench into this retake. Look at the Sentinels players caught unaware, man. Unaware. They have to hold in the market area because they know that Zelsis just gets that pick. He wraps all the way around. He injected chaos into the round. You can see Sentinels trying to set up. Zoms was holding the Paranoia. They were about to call a play. It's the perfect timing from Zelsis.
It really is. It's a fantastic timing. He has so much time to be able to do all of that as well because they were so fast into the site to begin with. It's an explosive play that means Sentinels are going to be a bit slower to react, which gives Zelsis more time for the wraparound. Plus, they got the kill on Dapper, which means no alarm bot in mid. It all worked together. He even threw a knife at the end that stopped 10s being able to dash. Yeah. So that really just puts the dampener on any retake attempt.
What a game so far from Zelsis. 14-5.
He's frying. He has been amazing on the KO in VCT this year.
I think one of the best in NA at the moment.
It's him and Zeppa, for sure.
An argument.
They do play very different styles, but I'm really a big fan of how Zelsis plays it on this map. Really supportive, but able to challenge and get aggressive for kills when needed.
Oh, it's the last round of the half. Sentinels would love another one on the board.
I told you, version 1 average 8-4.
I know, it'll be working towards the average wait. Nice nade just to try and disrupt the V1 push, but they are already deep into the site.
Okay, here, Brent. It's a full retake setup. Dapper has his lockdown. So what are they doing with this?
V1
knife comes out and V1 are fighting.
They don't even want to give them the space so that they can use the lockdown. Denying all of it in 3, it's a good Paranoia, and the kills, finally they come through still. Shaz holds that. 2v3 now as the lockdowns falls, pushing all the way through. What? You've got to be joking! The Nanoswarm was down, pushing down. Shaz just has to hold that swing angle, and Dapper with a bit of run and gun. Oh my god, just about locks that one up. So we do end up moving towards the average for V1's attack sides. It's going to be the 8-4 half. It was 3-3 And Sentinels just got that additional round as the tail end of the half, man. They're going to need to really scramble for something, I think. Obviously, with the side switching, there might be some opportunities for them. The attack side for Sentinels, definitely opportunities to maybe set up some paranoia plays with Soms and whatnot. But we'll find out on the other side of the break whether or not Sens can start mounting a comeback. When it comes to those first maps, Sentinels have often been slow to start. Six said it himself in an interview he did recently. And, well, they're going to need to start to mount a bit of a comeback now against V1. Currently, the scoreline, obviously, you can all see it. 8-4 at the top of your screens. Got to see something special coming out from Sentinels. Maybe a bit of prep, something to plan around with this Omen pick.
There's a massive KO diff happening at the moment, too. So I'm looking for Sick to really step up here as we're looking at their attack side. He has the spike at the moment. This pistol round is beginning fairly slowly. Extremely patient play here for Sentinels.
Yeah, just a bit of light poking and prodding from Sen. Just want to try and hunt out the positioning.
So Version1 have got a bit of a damage setup. So they're going to shock dart here off the turret contact.
Yeah. There we go. I mean, that did chunk down 10s.
Yeah, it's
the second one?
Oh, I thought that was going to be a direct hit, actually, onto Dapper, but it's a nice play. Version1 do sprinkle those in on their defense side. And Sentinels... Okay, Dapper knows that he has to break that.
He's just intentionally tagged.
Yeah, getting intentionally tagged there to make it look like it's a B hit, mid to B, something like that. When in fact, they're grouping up for an A split.
Smart from him. Out of drone. That's a knife used, though. It cancels it. Holding too close, Shaz just around the corner. He's going to be denied a bit of that extra information. And now we see the exec coming through. Paranoia doesn't quite catch. But are they going to expect Xander, who's holding in his corner? I don't think so. Penny already dashed through. It's a quick pop flash right around the sides. Will the swings be there? Smoke to try and disrupt a lot of the timings that's coming their way. Still, Sentinels, it's a 3v3. They are quite low, though. Stapper on a sliver of HP. The swing around the corner. How are V1 winning this one out? It's up to Shaz. Jump around the side, and, well, that's a classic for you. Whippy ends up winning it out. 9-4 is the scoreline.
That's not a good beginning. We were talking about Sentinels winning the pistols. They did a great job in the first, but unfortunately, that really was winnable for Shaz. There was about 15 health available on both sides. But this jump into sight from Penny to be able to take down 10s kind of opens the door for the three-man heaven setup, and then the turret's just giving them contact. So weak on Effie's and Whippy. But Whippy manages to collect the final 2 kills. And Sentinels, they're not going for a force buy here, nothing crazy. Just kind of accepting going down 10-4.
Oh, spots a jump peak. Shaz down early. Not the player you want to go down.
Now, Brent, I was talking about how good Version1's attack sides are. Sentinels have been lagging so far in 2022. They are not only second worst in their pistol round win rate, they're second worst in their attack side win rate across VCT as well. Again, the only team underneath them is the struggling 100 Thieves roster.
That is insane considering their scoreline or their current standings in the group.
Absolutely.
That's a ridiculous
This match could take them anywhere from 1st to 3rd in the group. So it's wild that they have such rough stats but are still managing to put up the wins. I think that speaks to the experience and talent on this Sentinels roster.
Yeah, for sure. Really just having a field day, man. Push it against the ecos. This is a player as well. You don't want to give this guy kills in these particular rounds. He is 1 away from the knives, I believe.
You know, yeah, he is. You know, might be one of the most underrated players. I think that's what his coach was tweeting recently, actually. One of the most underrated players in North America. Now, of course, the coach is going to think that, but there's,
Prime
there's another
Flawless, by the way.
Another Prime Gamer Flawless, as you'd expect. But, yeah, Penny's stats are just nuts. And it's not just his stats, obviously, but his impact in the server is phenomenal. And even when he's not getting the first kills, he's getting traded and he's making space for his team. And he's just been dominating. Even if you just compare the Jet v Jet, there is no stat where 10s is higher.
I mean, that's crazy.
Isn't that
is
mad?
crazy, yeah. You told me that before the groups. I mean, I'd find it difficult to believe.
Look at that, kind of like a reverse one-way from Xander. Normally people put that on the other half wall.
Yeah.
So this one blocks it off even more difficult for the attackers to get through, I think.
A quick little clear of that alarm bot in mid, Sentinels, so they're going to be causing a bit of misinformation. Not necessarily misinformation, but definitely going to keep V1 guessing as to whether or not they are pushing through that mid area.
They close the door, get Effie's to watch the spawn in case there's anybody lurking extremely deep, and Shaz drones Sick into Cat, looking for that opening kill. I think Sick is still only sat at 4 kills so far across 14 rounds, so him being able to find an entry would be a big morale boost as well for the guy.
Backed up, door going to get broken now. Is this going to be signaling that B split? Looks like Sentinels were setting up for it, but the players of V1 are more than ready. They've already got them here. Flash in hand. Zelsis getting ready to support him at the back of the site. The flash goes over. It's a classic play. They love to do it. The Sentinels players, they're hardly even in the site. Sick holding the angle right round the corner, but the headshots are just flowing through. Spectre online. Shaz in the back. 35 HP though. The 1v2 does have better weaponry. Finds the one, but the swing timing from Penny is just impeccable.
Shaz is doing all he can. 3 kills in the round, but it's the fragging is amazing from Shaz, and I don't want to pull him down for his IGLing. Obviously, one of the most incredible IGLs we've ever had in NA VCT. Might be the best we've ever had. But these kind of rounds where Sentinels really struggles in their attack half. Every piece of utility there, apart from the drone, made it feel like a B split. And it was a B split. And the mollies coming out, the nano swarms from Whippy, stopped them going through market. He had 2 in market to stop a push coming through, which means both of their B players can dip to backside and Zelsis can flash himself through catwalk to help. And that delay and the fact that Version1 just get the read on what's happening makes that push all too easy for them to shut down. And they win the bonus. They're 11-4 up.
I mean, that's absurd. Drone used by Shaz. Has to maybe clear market with this one as well. Oh, it gets destroyed. So now they are going to have to use more utility to clear wine even. I assume that there's a player there because of the swing that was taken by Xander to kill that drone.
Yeah, that's the kind of play that you normally only make if you've already pushed a player into wine. So you can see that Zoms is pretty cautious of it at the moment, but it looks like Sentinels are not aiming to go towards A to finish anyway, so they're not really worried about there being a player over there. They don't have any B main control, though. They have some level of information, but Shaz doesn't have the drone. 45 seconds left. They don't control deep mid or cat. This is going to be a really tough push for Sentinels, and that's before you factor in they've only got Sheriffs.
And they don't have much time left. It's quite orchestrated. Zelsis is just watching mid, but as soon as the paranoia comes through, the turret also takes that contact, and now Zelsis grenades into the back, flash inside the smoke just in case there's a player holding inside of it. Spams it, 20 seconds remaining, and they're still not on the site. Finally, the burst comes through. Can the players get anything done, though? The answer is a resounding no. Xander with 3 on the spray down, and the team, well, definitely back in. The swing comes through. It is 12-4 Sentinels. Any signs of a timeout? Any signs of something to disrupt this momentum?
Doesn't really look like it, does it? And the 2 tips of the spear, Tens and Sick, have, they're 12 and 30 between them. So they're not being able to brute force it. I'm not saying it's Tens and Sick's fault. It isn't. The way that they're setting up these rounds is not setting Tens and Sick up necessarily for success. Version1 have always got the read. There's always utility they have to battle their way through. But something Sentinels can often do in these type of games is get crazy rounds from Tens or Sick that make up for the lack of kind of strategic prowess, let's say. And that individuality is what you're looking for Sentinels to do well in patch 4.04. You're looking for that loose style, for the paranoias and Tens popping off. Here he goes for the entry.
All right. Paranoia was used earlier. That is a nice nade. Bullet tag. That's enough. Xander slowed down to a crawl. Couldn't actually find his mark, but the swing comes down anyway. Okay, into hell. Penny's up top as well. And that's the map.
That's all they wrote.
I mean,
the rest of Sentinels just simply didn't go through the smoke.
Yeah.
I mean, Tens got in, and then they popped double, or they were going to pop double molly, but Zelsis already flashed his way through the door, and that was it. That's a devastating map one.
Now, bit of copium for the Sentinels fans.
Please.
It was V1's map pick. We're going to Haven next. Maybe they pull out some strats from 2016. And it might work again because we're moving into the meta. As Thomas was saying about the, I believe it was Sick who was saying about the meta might suiting them. But regardless of all of that, that is going to be map 1 concluded. We're going to take a short break on the other side of things. Of course, the analyst desk going to break down what we've seen and set us up for that map 2. Everybody's going to be waiting for it, and we'll see you in just a few.